Well, hello there. I was wondering, what is going on in this week's portion? I open up the book to read, and I find that God is smiting the Egyptians with the weirdest plagues. He first smites the Egyptians, he turns all the water into blood. What kind of plague is that? He should have sent, some missiles and just wiped out the entire Egypt. But no, all the water turned to blood. And then after that, he sends an even weirder plague. He takes the water, and out of the water comes frogs, and frogs go and spread in the entire Egypt, including in the ovens of the Egyptians. I know God's creative, but this seems a little too creative for me. What's so special about water and frogs? And I think the idea of the water and the frogs shares a very, very powerful lesson for each and every one of us. What is Egypt? The word Mitzrayim, Egypt, actually shares the root word of Mitzarim, limitations. That's to tell us that if you want to leave your Egypt, if you want to leave your limitations, you have to do what Moses did. Because man, what Moses did worked. What did Moses do? He brought about the plague of the water turning into blood and the frogs coming out. The idea of water is cold. Water is the idea of indifference, lack of sensitivity. The idea of blood is warmth and heat. Smiting the water with blood symbolized turning the lack of difference, the lack of sensitivity that we have to doing what's right and bringing warmth and bringing passion into it. Because if you think about it, unless a person has a passion and unless a person is fully invested, then he doesn't have hope. Because even if you're doing what's right, over time it'll fade. So Moses saw that in order to change that, in order to leave the limitations of Egypt, in order to break out of those boundaries, it had to start with turning the water into blood, turning the cold and indifference into passion, having passion for what's right, taking away the Egyptians, the lack of morality in Egypt, taking away their passion in doing what's right, and bringing in passion of Judaism. And that's why we had the frogs, because the blood symbolizing the positive effect, symbolized hitting the coldness, the lack of sensitivity they had to holiness and making it full of passion. And the frogs, which are cold-blooded creatures and come from the water, going into the ovens of the Egyptians and spoiling all their food, symbolized cooling off the passion for the bad things. And really one thing is connected in the other. That when you do what's right and you have a passion in doing what's right, it will automatically lead to a lack of care for doing what's wrong. And therefore, if you find yourself struggling, that you have such strong desires, that God made us with these weird feelings sometimes, that you want to do what's wrong. And when it comes to doing what's right, what's new? The answer is throw yourself in. Put yourself into it. Bring in passion. And when you bring in passion, then automatically you'll find that the passion you had before for the negative things will disappear. And this should serve as a lesson for each and every one of us. That if you want to break out of our habits, if we're doing a mitzvah, doing a good deed, nothing new, you're already doing a mitzvah, continue doing the mitzvah. But the mitzvah that you're doing, throw yourself in. Pour yourself into it fully. Do it with passion. Good Shabbos.